All right, guys, welcome to week 4 of your weight loss challenge. I hope all is well and you're feeling great. Today we are going to be talking about carbs, one of my favorite topics. As I mentioned earlier, these little red dots here are what I sent you in an email. They just give great advice, and they're actually what we're going to be picking apart today. I might open them as like a quick reference, but what I did was I went ahead and I took some great chunks out of each of these to kind of explain them a little bit more simpler and just ways that are easier to remember and hopefully just stick with you a little bit better, because these go into like super scientific detail, which are great. But it may be hard to understand. So what I did was I basically got 9 essential facts. So I'm going to keep this screen on and I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys. So feel free to chime in and hit me with any questions. Just like say my name and I'll stop. So here, I'm going to be explaining the 9 essential facts about carbs. So first, let's start off with what are carbs? So carbs are found, obviously, in numerous foods and can be metabolized within our bodies into glucose, which provides us with a quick source of energy. And now I'm going to go into, so that's basically what carbs are. So a lot of the times, the main point is like we want to eat carbs. Our carbs are for energy. So my number 1 is, why are carbs needed? So when we consume carbs, they provide us with our main source of energy. And for background, they help with bodily functions, which keep our organs running properly. And some other benefits of carbs are they help to regulate blood sugar levels. They avoid the use of us eating our protein and using protein as energy. They help us achieve a fullness factor, so that can help with avoiding overeating. And they help to prevent constipation, believe it or not. So that's kind of like a few pinpoints of why we do need carbs. My number 2 pinpoint is, how are carbs utilized for energy? So carbs are mainly broken down and metabolized in the gut, and they're absorbed into the bloodstream as an individual molecule of glucose. So a complex carb takes a little bit longer to break down, but that's because the sugar molecules within the blood are transferred to our muscles. So I want to take you on a virtual tour with this one, because these scientific words may lose you. So I want you to picture eating a piece of bread, right? And it goes, as it breaks down, it's going down your throat and into your stomach, into your gut. So that piece of bread is now being broken down and absorbed. So imagine like little pieces running through your bloodstream. Okay, so that's going to turn into glucose. So now we have like a little slimy thing going down our stomachs. And that molecule is going to be transferred to the brain. So it's going to feed our brain. Just envision like little sparks running and hitting the brain. It's going to our muscles, into our hormones, and that's where our body gets its energy. So an important thing to know, though, is that not every piece of that bread is going to be used as energy. So what happens to, why is that? So the body can only absorb what it needs. So if you're not being active and you're eating a bigger carb meal, what happens is not all that food is able to be broken down. So it turns into sugar into the body and is then stored as body fat. So that's what we don't want. And we'll be having a different class where we'll go over like portion sizes, so we can kind of show you that as well. But that's kind of just a factor of overeating carbs. So I have a third pinpoint. And it's just gonna I'm gonna explain to you like the difference between a complex carb and a simple carb. So you've probably heard like there's bad carbs and good carbs. Simple carbs tend to be our quote unquote bad carbs. And I'll give you some example of those, which would be, so some examples would be biscuits, cakes, chocolates, fruits, honey, jams, pizza, candy bars, white and brown cane sugar, prepared sauces, and soft drinks. So those would be some of our simple carbs. And those are the carbs that are also known as just sugar. Complex carbs are the carbs that we want to eat. These are the ones that we kind of want to reach for, before our workouts, after our workouts, to refill our bodies, and just remember that these carbs are the ones that are going to be giving us energy and not stored as fat. So the complex carbs, your good carbs, are going to be bananas, barley, beans, brown rice, chickpeas, lentils, nuts, oats, potatoes, root vegetables. Let's see what else. And whole wheat pasta, and yams and sweet potatoes. So those are some of my favorite good carbs. Okay, so now to kind of touch on, now that we know like what a carb is, how it kind of breaks down in the body, and the difference between a bad carb and a good carb, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of like how much carbs should I consume. That's like another big question I get a lot. It's kind of hard to say like right now, but like obviously everybody's a little bit different. But I can just kind of give you like a broad overview. So hopefully it helps. But the daily recommended for carbohydrates is, let's see, the amount of carbohydrates you have per day is 225 and 325 grams, provided you consume a 2,000 calorie a day diet, which most of us don't. So for a typical male, that's probably a good number for you, about 225 grams of carbs. But for a female, I'd probably say around 150. About 150 grams would be a good amount for a female. And if you're really, really interested in your exact number, definitely ask me and Mario later. We can look over your numbers and give you something that's a little bit more personalized. But those are just a round number. So I think another important thing that I really wanted to touch on is what happens if I don't consume enough carbohydrates. I can't tell you enough how many people I've heard are scared of carbs. And carbs are definitely not bad. They're our friends. We just have to know, we just have to be smart about them. And hopefully after this call, you guys will feel like you could totally approach carbs in a different way and definitely look at them a little bit differently. So what happens if I don't eat enough carbs? So if you don't eat enough carbs, you may experience a drop in blood sugar levels, or hypoglycemia, which can result in feeling lightheaded. You could feel a little bit weak, difficult in concentration. You can also experience your body will begin to use stored fat as energy, and then it'll eventually utilize protein for energy. And that prevents it from being used for other body parts, and proteins and fats like help other bodily functions. Like I mentioned earlier, how the benefits of carbs is that they help with the functions of keeping your organs running properly and the blood sugar levels, whereas proteins and fats help with other important bodily functions like growth and repair of the body. So when you're lacking in a certain area and you're taking away, you're not helping. Like when you stop eating carbs, you stop like helping your digestive system, and then you start to break down into other parts of the body because it's relying on like a weak leg, if that makes sense. So definitely don't be afraid of using carbs. Your body needs them, and it depends on them, definitely. Let's see what other tips that I had. Okay, here's a good one. Are low carbohydrate diets good? I hope I kind of answered that in the last question. But generally speaking, when you cut out any food group, will likely lead to complications and do more bad for you than good for your health. So if you're not getting enough of the essential nutrients that your body needs, in most cases, low carbohydrate diets consist of a lot of fats. Which could be healthy or unhealthy. But this can lead to a lot of complications, including heart disease. And to be honest, it's not very beneficial because in the long run, it's not a diet that's maintainable. So it may work for a little bit, but it's not maintainable, and you're not going to have energy, and you're just not going to feel like your body's not going to be working at optimal levels because it's going to be missing something. From my experience and through school, what I've learned is that a low carbohydrate diet is not good for you in the long term. Okay. So let's see. So those are like just a few of my bullet points that I summed up from what this Herbalife weight loss challenge gave us. Theirs kind of goes into a little bit more of like the glycemic index and a little bit more of like the spikes in sugar levels. But I mainly want to help to like empower you guys to not be afraid of eating carbs and knowing that there is bad carbs and good carbs, and which ones are going to be the most beneficial for you and your health goals. So there is recipes in here that I did send to your email. So I definitely check those out. They'll help you when you go to the grocery store. I believe it has the healthy carbs on that list as well. And I could probably also send over some cool recipes that we like to use too. Do you guys have any questions?
No. One of the things for me that I've noticed, especially when I start eating a lot more cleaner, maybe it's because I got used to eating, really bad fattening stuff. But when I start eating, like those good carbs with chicken or like a tilapia or salmon, I don't feel full. Like I'll feel temporarily full for that moment, but then like half an hour later, I still feel hungry. Is there like something that I can add to it that's not too bad of a carb that would kind of keep me full a little bit, or just stick with more protein?
Yeah, like a secret carb is actually like tomatoes. And that's just because they have like a lot of properties in them that like they have high sugars, but they also have protein. So they kind of fall into the carb category. But I generally just add more fruit like veggies because a lot of times we just need a little bit more fiber because fiber is more filling than carbs. Um, and it'll keep you, the cool thing about fiber too is that it's great for your digestive system and it'll keep you fuller longer. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry, I thought I lost you. Does that kind of help?
Yeah, I think I'll try that. Because I mean, it's usually like a protein and like, brown rice or quinoa rice, and then just one type of veggies, so like broccoli or something.
Yeah. I would try like trying to ask for like something that has or like get like a melody of veggies or even having a little bit more carbs wouldn't hurt or something that has like carbs and fiber like beans. Mario laughs at me, but I always get like a little side of beans.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like mainly for that reason.
Yeah. All right.
Is there any more questions? I'm good. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording and then we could still have questions after that.